Pete Williams joins me now. And Pete, I understand there is some new information on the shooting in Dayton, Ohio.
Right. New charges against a friend of Connor Betts, the man who carried out the mass shooting. Authorities revealed today that on Friday, they arrested a 24-year-old from Kettering, that's a suburb of Dayton, named Ethan Colley. And now they don't accuse him of knowing anything about the shooting, but here's what they say, that he has admitted that he bought for Betts some of the items that Betts used in the shooting attack, including body armor, part of the AR-15 weapon, a part of it that's not federally regulated, and also the 100-round magazine that authorities say was used in the shooting. Now, the Dayton police had said that Betts had 2 of them. The U.S. Attorney and the FBI today say that Colley admits that he bought the one used in the shooting. You're looking at the 2 there on the screen on the bottom. That's the picture that the Dayton police had put out. But in any event, they say he had no indication that he knew Betts would conduct this attack, that he did not intentionally participate in anything to do with the shooting. But what they say is that earlier this year, Colley bought body armor, part of the weapon, the magazine, and told the Federal Bureau of Investigation and ATF agents who talked to him that he did it because Betts asked him to keep it in Colley's apartment so that Betts could hide it from Betts's parents. And then 10 weeks ago, according to court documents, Betts came to the house. The 2 of them put the item together, put the rifle together, and kept it there. And then they say about 6 to 8 weeks ago, Betts came back, retrieved the weapon, got the body armor and the magazine. And they also say that these 2 men were friends. Colley says that he told the federal agents that the 2 of them did marijuana and, as it says in the court documents, acid, presumably LSD, 4 to 5 times a week from 2014 to 2015. Now, the actual charges against Colley today are separate from the shooting. The charges are that he bought a handgun, and when he did so, he checked on the federal form that he was not a drug user. They say that was a lie, and they say so that's one charge. And then the second charge is continuing to possess a handgun while he is a drug user. That makes you unqualified under federal law to have a weapon if you're a regular drug user. So there's no allegation that the weapon that he bought, the handgun, had anything to do with the shooting. Instead, they say he bought these items for Betts at Betts's request so that his parents wouldn't know he was getting them. But the FBI and the U.S. Attorney both repeatedly said during a news conference today that there's no indication that Colley knew what Betts was planning.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.